joining you today, and I'm joined by the beautiful Joycey. Hello, Joycey.
Hello, how we doing? How we doing?
Good. It looks like we're going to be launching straight into our first match. There are no holds barred today. We're going straight into top 64 here. This is day 2 if you're coming in now. And a player of a set already leading us straight in. MKBigBoss versus Pew. And we're just going straight at it.
Yeah, both of these players, of course, MKBigBoss hailing from Mexico, I believe 4th seed of the entire event, doing really well. I believe breaking a top 8 curse back at UFA, and of course hoping to repeat that at this event where there are sort of a little less stakes than UFA, of course, but still very much a big tournament. Meanwhile, Pew still rocking that Ness, a character that's been sort of always very prominent at the start of a meta, went in a bit of decline, but then managed to sort of bring its way back in the meta. There are a lot of very good Ness mains, and Pew, of course, being at the forefront of it, but looking like a little bit falling behind here. Over 100% deficit, just trying to end it all with that second gyro, but the relentless pressure is still on, and Pew just can't get out of the corner.
Yeah, it's where R.O.B tends to thrive. Maybe bulky, may have big hitboxes, but those big hitboxes can be used to keep you in disadvantage at all times. Pew battering up this time. It's actually Pew's time to play the game. Never mind, I take it all back. Curse is personal. MKBigBoss grabs him, puts him off stage, and that is again Pew right at home on that ledge.
But despite saying that, Pew has been doing a really good job at just, well, surviving, which obviously sounds like a bit of a strange thing. Everybody wants to be good at that in a fighting game, but in the same vein, just making sure to get around all of these traps, doing a lot of these timing mix-ups, particularly on that down throw, and now actually has a lead despite that pretty difficult start. And we are seeing exactly what Ness can do to a big body like R.O.B, just taking a delicate lead and just securing it a little bit more. 70% so far, and even that down air still not going to kill. Pew still hanging on by the thinnest of threads.
Oh, there you go. MKBigBoss does make it back, and Pew just tries to go for an aggressive play. They knew that stock was lost, and they were just kind of hoping that maybe, I don't know, maybe hoping for a mistech on MKBigBoss if that up B found its mark. But hey ho, we're into this next stock. Pew is alive and kicking, does have a very comfortable lead. But MKBigBoss is not taking that. Sitting down, that's a nice little bit of damage, a nice little combo, and Pew has to find the breaker.
Ooh, I love that little B reverse side magnet movement there, just to throw Big Boss around for a loop, getting that back air as well, and then just a couple more interactions leading into this edge guard ledge trap situation here. Big Boss managing to get just that little teeny tiny hit, one hit of up air, just to be able to get back on. And now once again, both of them in this very delicate situation, but it is going to be the up air catching the tech chase on the top platform that is going to get the first stock, and Pew is looking pretty comfortable in this matchup at the moment.
Pew going to make it back to the ledge, and MKBigBoss does actually manage to snuff it out with that down air. Doesn't get the spike, but does get the bounce. Tries it for again a third time as well, but Pew is making it back A-okay. This stock being intact is pretty nice, pretty crucial, because the longer that Pew stays alive, the more advantage they have going into this final stock. And again, we're just seeing them call that stock a day, be like, I'm done with this. Try and chase for a bit more damage. Maybe try and get a mistech from Big Boss. Just tack on something extra on your way down.
Interesting there. I wonder if Pew maybe thought that he'd got his jump back in that little strange situation. Had the gyro in hand, but still not managing to get anything started. And ooh, a bit of an overcommitment there from Big Boss, not taking that much of a punish. And Pew finding himself in that similar situation, but we've seen how fast Ness can rack up damage, and that side magnet, even though you're not recovering too much from the lasers, it's still going to deter Big Boss just a little bit. And given the fact that these two are so neck and neck in percent, it could end up being the crucial, it could be the kingmaker in this set here, Daleks.
Almost definitely. MKBigBoss popping Pew up. And actually does find the kill. No kill screen, no kill spark, no nothing. Take it or leave it. That up air will be delivering the final blow of game 1.
Yeah, I think a little bit of suspect DI, of course. If you're not ready, at this point, you should be ready to DI R.O.B's up air, but of course that mix-up can be incredibly tricky to see sometimes. And yeah, so we see it here. Couple of up tilts into the up air, and yeah, maybe DIing over to the left-hand side when they shouldn't have been, and just dying a lot earlier than you need to. That move can kill deceptively early if you have not got that DI on point.
And it's no insult to Pew, honestly. That thing can be really rough too sometimes. Trying to almost option select, am I going to be popping out facing left or facing right? It can be quite rough, and if you're not ready for it, that's the kind of situation it puts you in. Going into this next game, by the way, Joycey, I want to note, both these competitors were actually both at UFA, which is something you can obviously expect, seeing that they're both in the right region at the right time. And MKBigBoss did find their footing at 7th, and Pew fell short, a little bit short of that is 33rd. So we have a bit of an underdog story on our hands, but Pew, in no regards, was drowning in that first game.
It's interesting to think, right? Because, like you mentioned, there's both this sort of, there's been this real back and forth here. Pew very much holding his own, and both of these characters certainly, particularly with R.O.B, you've got to know what to do in the R.O.B matchup when, you know, at this point in the game, where the meta's begun to settle a little bit, and we know who sort of the top dogs are of the meta, and R.O.B is right up there with the best of them. Meanwhile, Ness is a bit of an odd character again. I mentioned a little bit earlier, but typically does really well at the start of the meta, and then seems to go down as people get a little more familiar. Ness hasn't overly changed that much, pretty much since his inception. At the end of the day, if you're still dedicated to this character 5 years into the game, you're going to have some crazy movement tech like we've already been seeing with the side magnets. And there we go, that correct DI finally showing itself on at a perfect moment as well. Pew showing those elements of survivability that he was showing in game 1, and we're seeing it again here in game 2.
Yeah, it's like, not being rude about it, but Ness is the little brother character, right? Like, that is how you see it. But then it's the little brother character with, like, with surprising source once it gets in the hands of a master. And that, let's be real, is what Pew is at the end of the day. Does manage to live a lot of these hits by Big Boss. That gyro ledge though will be putting in the work, catches Pew, forces a recovery. MKBigBoss looking to take this stock and not even really singing a kill shot to do it. Oh, apart from that down air, my god. But MKBigBoss more than happy to just take the chip damage, keep Pew in a disadvantage, and then catch them asleep at the wheel with an up air like that to take the first stock of game 2. My god.
I've got to wonder what the thought process was behind that dash attack, and I like the fact that Big Boss clearly knowing in that situation that the 0 to death wasn't quite on the card, so just ending it a little bit early, getting that guaranteed 45%. However, the edge guard situation that I'm sure that he wanted has immediately been reversed. Oh, and I love that, knowing that using the side magnet, and normally you go for that back air straight away, but then anticipating that Big Boss would air dodge to cover that, and then just that slight delay on it. That was such good awareness from Pew. We've got mix-up on mix-ups all day with this character.
Oh, we do. Pew does make it back from that ledge. Actually, I'm really liking, for as much as we have talked about Pew being forced to the ledge and finding a home there, Pew's actually playing really good while in this disadvantageous state. They're not playing panicky, they're not playing worried, they're literally taking their time and then treating it like an escape room, trying to find that one little thing that you've got to push down on to get out, and then they do, and then we're back to neutral, and then they're not actually looking like that panic, that frenzied in neutral. They're holding it down really nicely.
We can just see Pew very much happy to slow down the pace a little bit, managing to keep up with R.O.B's relentless onslaught of projectiles. However, the back air, not really a projectile and exactly not what you were ready for, just dying off the side there. And yeah, Big Boss not quite managing to get that confirmed just yet, but still 20%. And again, just a return to even a little bit more damage. And this is where things can get really scary, right? Is that R.O.B with these little 2-3 pieces, of course known for the 0 to death, but able to just rack up that damage slowly but surely. And then as long as you're avoiding, you know, those up airs, those back airs from Ness and those PK fires, of course, and yeah, no matter how good your air dodge is there, you're not going to be able to get back to ledge in that situation. An unfortunate SD there from Pew, slightly overestimating how far that air dodge would take, and now staring down the barrel of a reverse 3-0, and fairly quickly as well. These have been quick games so far, Daleks.
Oh, they definitely have been. But like we said in game 1, game 2, less reflecting this, but like it hasn't felt that terribly one-sided. It's felt like there has been a fight being put up here, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pew was to take a game. I wouldn't be surprised if Pew was to take 2. If this went to game 5, I don't think I would be that shocked as a commentator.
Honestly, that's the thing. It's wild to think that they've been going so quickly, because you normally associate those like quick 2-0s, quick 3-0s with dominance in gameplay. But yeah, it's just the pace that both of these players, and it goes to show how proficient they are in terms of their damage output, right? They know those perfect combos. Ooh, I love the attempt. Oh, and I think actually going into the gyro actually messed up the timing there for Big Boss, doing the right thing and then shielding and going for that guaranteed punish to grab. But I think just slightly overestimating how far Pew would be because of that gyro stopping Ness for a little bit. So real nice stuff there to Pew, whether that was great awareness or just a little blessing in disguise. But there's no amount of blessing. Yeah, no amount of blessing is going to save you from that side B. Unfortunately for Pew, covers air dodges, covers no air dodges. But again, Pew not letting it deter him, just straight back into the swing of things.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's even. At the end of the day, it's even. There is no reason to be hindered by that. MKBigBoss, though, does find an instant 60% on Pew from a lovely couple of hits that converts into basically whatever the hell the R.O.B wants. And while Pew is above MKBigBoss, there's just really not much that you can do other than call out with a neutral air dodge and then hope to God that you've made the right call at the right time. Pew does find the footing back on the stage and bullies MKBigBoss to the ledge this time instead. Will they manage to keep them there, Joycey?
We are going to see at the moment. It looks like, oh my goodness, wonderful tech there from MKBigBoss, but you've still taken over 100% just trying to get back into the swing of things. Daleks, this is so close.
It definitely is. The next big hit will take this stock away, and I think that might be pretty telling for the endgame because, oh, there it is! Yeah, there it is! MKBigBoss does seal out that stock. So now they have all this time in the world, as long as they can hold on to this lifeline, to get just free damage on Pew. Going into that final one stock situation with, like, there you go, even this 25% lead. That's so nice. You're already closer to death pretty much by, like, one R.O.B combo.
It's just so wild how back and forth these players are. It's the typical thing where, you know, Pew is going to go up to someone and say 3-0, but it was close. And he's not going to be a liar. That's the thing, because it's a 3. It could be a 3-0. It could, as you said earlier on, if this went all the way down to the wire, I would not be surprised. Both of these players are just so proficient with their characters, and they're so explosive when they want to be. But finally, MKBigBoss getting that down air. We'd seen a few attempts over the past 3 games, but finally getting it when it mattered with a clean 3-0, sending Pew straight down to the blast zone and straight into loser's bracket alongside.
No, not to be mean about it, but like, literally, he did go and go straight downwards, you know? But one thing I did actually want to say, and I thought about it in game 1, and then completely forgot to mention it, is that, like, stereotypically, Ness and R.O.B really projectile-based characters, really like, I'm going to sit on the other side of the stage and make you come to me.